How do you create a system for orchestrating the generation, collection, evaluation and implementation of novel ideas in a 2,000-person corporate enterprise? In 2006, Elizabeth Coleman was recruited to introduce innovation processes within IAG, the Insurance Australasia Group, New Zealand. Beth joined IAG following her postgraduate studies in business innovation and entrepreneurship at the Unitec Institute of Technology, Auckland. Beth began her career in product innovation at Texas Instruments in California, migrating her skills from her earlier teaching career in Boston. The move into information technology led Beth to develop new customer engagement programs for Computerland, US, Microsoft, Texas Instruments, and AutoCAD. An invitation to join Computerland, New Zealand, as a specialist technology expert brought her to New Zealand in the mid-1980s. Later joining Telecom as a manager of the Information Technology Support Division broadened her knowledge of new business and systems development, and advanced her interest in business innovation and entrepreneurship. Beth has led several consulting teams that assisted businesses to design new systems, processes, and structures informed by market research. Now Beth is charged with massively expanding her IAG idea pipeline from its pilot deployment for a small cluster of passionate users throughout the entire IAG corporation. Beth invites your ideas. Welcome, Beth. Your early career began almost 30 years ago as a teacher following a degree qualification in fine arts. What attracted you to a teaching position rather than pursuing a career in fine arts?
I really wanted to engage with people, and I had spent a lot of time doing a lot of artwork by myself, locked away in the tower of art, the world of art. And I decided, no, I'd rather work with people. And art therapy presented itself to me by chance. Someone had suggested I do art therapy with children, so I took on a career in special education as a result of that interest. And so I started working with children, and I did do some art therapy with them, but it took me into the realm of technology, because the children that I worked with really loved computers. And I knew right from the start, right when I put the first computer in front of the first group, that that was the direction I was going to go in. So I moved on to teaching technology. I taught programming to children. So I had 4-year-olds learning to program for Texas Instruments. And then I went on to teaching adults, and we created customer engagement programs for larger companies in the US and then down here in New Zealand for technology companies like Computerland, Telecom, and a few others.
Okay. When you left teaching, you made an extraordinary jump into working in several high-tech information and communication technology companies. What have been some of the challenges and the benefits in making that dramatic career transition?
Probably learning how to engage differently with people in terms of the actual interaction. From the point of view of business, I had to translate my skills, which were teaching skills, which dealt with all the people's needs who I was working with, into a business world, and I had to translate all the terminology that I was used to using over to business terminology. And for some reason that I was able to do that very easily in the technology sphere. I had a very good introduction from people who were very knowledgeable in that field, and as I worked my way into that field, working with people who were high-tech at the time, I was able to understand what they were talking about. And so they would use me as the practice person. Let me see if I can explain this to you, they would say. Oops.
All right.
And usually I would learn from them, and it took me from stage to stage in my career. It took me into a deeper and deeper understanding of technology, which I was then able to translate to business people, and I still do that. So this tool that you'll see here tonight is a tool that I designed because I understand technology. But really, it's a very simple, easy-to-use tool that any business person in the organization can use. And that's, I'm taking all that knowledge that I have and put it into this one tool.
You migrated to New Zealand and progressed to being a manager of technologists in the Information Technology Support Division of Telecom. How did that management role contribute towards your professional growth and your subsequent passion for innovation and creativity beyond just straight technology?
Well, the first real chance I had to really understand what technology was about was by working as a manager at Telecom on a large-scale technology project. And it gave me an opportunity to work with all the different technology firms who were supplying to Telecom on the different layers of their technology. So they had the communications layer, which was phones. They had the PBX layer, which was underlying all the phones, that kept all the phones going. And then on top of that, they had the local area networks, which we now know is the web. And then on top of that, there were all the applications. And I dealt with all the different companies who were selling those services to Telecom. And I had to work with them to understand what technologies they were selling. So I had to learn their jargon, their language. And then I had to prepare reports that engaged the business people and gave them the correct decision on what to buy. Ooh, we have to move for just a second. I'm going to turn the light on. Oh, you've locked me in here. Sorry.
We'll just count 5. So how did that translate into your passion for innovation and creativity?
Well, I guess I've always had a passion for something new. I like working in new things. I like, even when I was starting my own businesses as a teenager, I always started something new. And that's been something that I'm very passionate about, is let's try this, let's do this, why not? Why can't we? And I've always done that. So when I got into the technology sector, of course, technology is the greatest opportunity for creating new things because you can always go further. The same with science. But technology is what I was good at. So I took the opportunity to move into new realms after working with Telecom. And I went out into different sectors and different industries with technology, creating new things and new businesses.
Can you share your experience of one of the best creative communication campaigns that you've been associated with?
Well, up until now, the greatest communication campaign that I worked with was a tourism development campaign. I've done a lot of new developments, but I haven't had the opportunity to actually do the communication piece. And when I went into a shorter-term role in tourism development in Waitakere, they had no brochures. They didn't know what they were really going to do with marketing themselves. So I worked with a brand expert and a media group to develop a set of brochures that all had the same look and feel. We had some very very sharp constraints. So we created new brochure thinking for the whole of Auckland. People were imitating us after we did it. And we used the artists to create the design for the front of the brochure. All the artists in the West Auckland area had an opportunity to put forward ideas, and we used their art on the brochures, and it worked very well. And you'll see now when you look at brochures in the tourism industry in Auckland, you see a lot of art displayed now, giving the artists an opportunity to market themselves within the tourism industry. So that was probably the first real marketing campaign that had to do with advertising material, but there was a branding effort that went behind that. And there were objectives for developing a market using that collateral to do so. Displayed